Hello everyone. Sorry for keeping you wait, but I was having a little chat with Shane about business, of course, as always, and we're just chatting about crypto regulations and Hong Kong because one of the Stargaze developers, Michael, is going to move here. And Shane was saying that maybe he will visit because there is a lot of regulations going in US, and Hong Kong is now welcome. Like, come here. So I tell you, this is a little paradox, right? Because Hong Kong belongs to China. China banned crypto, but Hong Kong is desperate now because Hong Kong was this hub of international business, and all the international business left after new security law and crackdown on COVID. So now Hong Kong is like, we have massive issue. We need to attract, because Hong Kong has this low taxes and all of this stuff. So they're like, we need to attract business. Blockchain is what we need to welcome. So now they're like, yeah, blockchain, please come. And I think it will be good place. A lot of companies is based here. Crypto.com, I think, is registered in Hong Kong. FTX used to be registered in Hong Kong. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I'm just talking in the private chat as well. So
yeah, because I'm like, why are you chatting in the private chat to me? I was like,
playing around with this tool.
What else is here in Hong Kong? But a lot of the shady crypto companies, because the regulation is like very, very soft here. Actually, many people don't realize a lot of big exchanges is registered here. So it's still quite strict. We still have to like wear the mask outside, but it's changing. And I hope it will become again this vibrant place that it used to be maybe 3 years ago. Because since 3 years, it's not vibrant anymore. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that. So Shane, how have you been? We didn't speak on live for a year. Actually, it's been a year since the first time I had you on the chat.
Wow, that's crazy! Oh my god, it just feels like a few months ago. But yeah, time just flies over here. I've been good. I've been getting better. I think just insane, just kind of like the pace of like that, and like I think burnt out towards the end of the year a little bit. And like entire month of December, I just wasn't feeling. Now I'm feeling. We've been on a pretty good kind of like schedule and pace now.
Yeah. By the way, guys, let me know if the audio is a little bit good, because I feel there might be a little bit of the lag. Yeah, like your audio is cutting a little bit. If you will be that's what I felt before. Like not sure why. We'll see. But it's someone.
All right, maybe it's
like okay.
My mic, I don't know, but let me know. All right. Let me.
It sounds like the glitch with the connection or something. It's not bad. It's little lag.
Yeah.
But why
okay,
did you? Go on. Let's see.
Should I switch to a different mic? Should I switch to?
It works, but maybe. Now it's completely gone. We
the other mic.
Yeah, because when you switch it doesn't really work.
Okay.
So we'll see. Maybe it will not be that bad. Why were you like burned out? Did you work too much, or was it related to the performance of the crypto? You were fed up with your work because you spent so much time maybe working, and you were like, I'm sick of doing this. I want to do something else.
Oh, it's if I burn out, it has nothing to do with performance of crypto. I don't even, to be honest, like look at the
Mhm.
day-to-day like markets, and I don't day trade or anything like that. You know, I'm definitely more of a builder, and I have a very kind of long-term outlook on things, right? So I
Mhm.
don't like, you know, little daily or weekly like fluctuations don't really kind of bother me. Um, yeah, it's just that, you know, like I like to, my happy place is when I'm building and when I'm coding.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I kind of um acquired this position of being like, you know, running things at Stargaze, and that takes so much time, and that's like, you know, there's so much admin work, right? There's so much like you know, biz dev, talking to creators, you know, like, you know, talking to infrastructure providers, validators, you know, other stakeholders, you know, like all this other stuff, that just like, you know, it's just very kind of hard to balance all of that
Mhm.
with also like the building, and it's completely like different mindsets, right? For like, for the building, you need like, you know, hours of just like not uninterrupted like time, but then like my day is just like constant meetings and just like constant interruptions.
Mhm.
So it's just, you know, I'm finding ways to make that work a little better. So what I've been doing now is that like I would do like I just like, you know, do all the communication like admin stuff during the day, and then I'll just like code at night, and that seems to work a lot better now.
But it does seem pretty exhausting, like, because you know, I woke up, I spoke to you, and it appears few hours later you are already active on the Twitter. So it seems you might be workaholic, right? But I want, like,
A
do
little
you
bit.
sleep very little naturally, or it just looks like this?
No, that was just it's just sometimes I'll like wake up a little early, and I'll just like, you know, my phone's like next to me, so I'll just like check Twitter or something, which I probably shouldn't be doing, and then I'll go back to sleep. So it's not like
Okay.
I woke up super early or anything like that.
Yeah, that's not ideal for you. You know, I have this rule: at night I don't touch my phone. Like, I don't
Oh
check the
man.
messages, because then it's difficult to get back to sleep sometimes, you know? So it's like, as long as you're not fully awakened, like I try to not touch. Um so
I
I,
don't
I
have the
wanted to.
willpower, man. I'm always checking Discord.
Oh yeah, this is addictive. Are you in some, like, are you only in the groups that relates to Stargaze, or you part of some Discord groups, like others that you just like really have cool
I mean,
community there?
Stargaze is my priority, right? So like most of it is just like, you know, like the internal Stargaze chats,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Because like there's always stuff that can go wrong, things can go down, right? And like, you know, if something uh you know, something kind of goes down in the back end or something, then like a few minutes later I'll have like a bunch of angry DMs, you know, like why didn't this work, or how come this sale didn't work and stuff like that. So um I had to kind of be on top of things in case anything goes wrong.
Yeah. I feel I bother Jorge too much, because I message him every day what I want to see on Stargaze, and I think I'm being annoying sometimes. You know, because I'm not deaf, and I'm like, just, I want this to be like this, I want this to be like, why we don't have this, you know? I think it might be annoying. What I wanted to ask you, because you know, Stargaze is like, it's all about NFTs, right? And I think I never asked you if you were part of the Ethereum, if you were part of the, you know, early in the ETH community, and if you find out about Ethereum NFTs quite early. What is the story there?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I got started, right? So I actually, before I discovered Cosmos, I was using and building on Ethereum, and
Hmm.
I still use Ethereum. I think possibly even more than I use Cosmos, even though I'm building on Cosmos.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I got into NFTs initially in 2017. Like, I got a CryptoPunk really early. I think I bought my punk at, I don't know, something like, I don't know, when I got it, it was like $70 or something like that. and
Nice.
then like at its peak, it went to something like 700,000.
Yeah. That's why I'm
um,
asking, like, because I thought, yeah, you must have gotten early, you know. And you got just one.
yeah, I mean, just kind of, one like high value one. I got a whole bunch of others just like airdropped. And
Right.
I wasn't really like trading or anything like that. It's more like, just curious about the
Hmm.
technology, how it works, and also just kind of really fascinated about all the communities that kind of like evolved
Hmm.
out of these things. And you know, I was just thinking what more can be built in what more can you kind of experiment in this design
Yeah.
space.
No. I didn't ask you, are you bonded by the time, or it's okay? How much time you have?
No, it's cool. I had a 9 o'clock, but that got canceled, so I
Oh,
can talk
okay.
for a little bit.
Yeah. Um, is there any community around CryptoPunks? Because this one is like very special. Like, I don't even think they have any Discord, right? Because this one was so random. It was actually free mint. It doesn't even have royalties, and it has the most random community. I think Snoop Dogg owns some of them, right? Gary V owns some of them. So I don't think there is any community around them. But
They
for now,
do,
like,
they do have a Discord. They do have a Discord. And a lot of the early NFT communities kind of like sprung out of that early Discord. Like
mhm,
for example, art blocks, right?
mhm,
Fro from art blocks used to hang out in that Discord.
yeah.
That's how I found out about art blocks. So yeah, I haven't checked it in a long time though, so I don't know how it's doing now.
Yeah, because I think with the CryptoPunks, right? Like, you don't have to have community. This is like the holy grail. Like, if you got the punk, this is like the status. Like, if I scroll through Twitter and I see someone got a punk, it's like, oh, I know this person has been in crypto more likely for years, come from Ethereum, understand NFTs a lot, and like, you don't have, like, you don't need like the community there. You know, this is like silent community, but they're out there, right? Have you heard of the other punks V1? Have you heard of them?
What's
The
this called?
V1 punks. It's like, so the punks that you have uh is the second
Is
one,
wrapped? Is the wrap?
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
V1 is the original one, right? Like, something like, and someone
Y-
bought them, so there's like one
yeah.
guy owning most, and they're still like, they're quite valuable. I see the floor is at 5 Ethereum. So yeah.
Yeah, because they came out, I forgot when, like very shortly after Ethereum launched, like in 2015 or something like
Mhm.
that. And this is before the ERC 721 standard, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So the V1s were actually like this like custom contract that wasn't compliant with ERC 721 because that came out
Yeah.
later, right? Yeah, the punks that most people kind of use and trade around are wrapped punks actually, because there's no way to trade them unless they're ERC 721s.
Yes.
So yeah, I think the V1s get a bit more attention, or are starting to get attention because people are realizing that those are like the real ones.
Starting now, because the V1 are the, like, this is the original contract, right? So like, and they're much cheaper still, but
No,
far too expensive for me.
you got to be careful though. There's a lot of fake ones out there claiming that they're the real V1s,
Oh,
but
okay.
they might not be. So watch out for
No,
that.
there is this one guy called Frank NFT. I think he bought like
Hmm.
all of them or something like this, or was it the exploit? And he came into possession of like most of them, and it was him who started promoting them, which is like quite risky, I think. Um, Yeah, he has tons of them. Do you have any other Ethereum NFTs that maybe become quite popular later?
So I have a bunch, but it was mostly to kind of play around with when I was kind of
Mhm.
developing and building. Yeah, I besides that punk, I don't have any others that are kind of high value. I do want a Fidenza and I do want a Chromey squiggle at some point. But I haven't gotten around to those yet. But uh, those are two things that I do kind of want from Ethereum.
Wow, 79 Ethereum Fidenza. I didn't know. It's crazy. Wow. Fun. Yeah. Well, and the other one?
The other one, probably a Chromey squiggle. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I kind of have weird taste in art, so I kind of like the abstract kind of stuff. Um, yeah, and the Chromie Squiggle has kind of cool things. If you've like pressed different keys, it starts to animate, and the colors kind of
Mhm.
change and stuff, and it's all different depending on which one you get.
Oh, didn't know. I want to share for people to see what we talk about. So this is Chromie Squiggle. I think the creator earnings are too high for the collection value, and the same about Fidenza. You have like creator earnings at 7.5%. Well, the here floor is much more expensive, which is quite high for the value NFT here. But yeah, these are like OGs. I'm still a huge fan of PFPs. I love PFP NFTs somehow, like because I feel I see more in them than PFPs. Um I was quite often speaking about this, that in PFPs and in the NFTs, um I see the art as the network. So in the NFTs, like it's not the picture you buy, right? Like it's the network that is the art. It's the network you buy into. And
Exactly. Yeah.
some of these networks, you can call them communities, are really amazing. So that's how I view it. Um
I mean that's the great thing about NFTs is that everyone's in it for different reasons, right? And
mhm.
and I think that's why this stuff is fascinating, right? So yeah, there's the community angle to it, right? The way I see it is like the Web3 kind of native version of like a Facebook group or something, right? But it's a group, it's a community, it's a tribe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then there's the pure art side of it. And then there's the speculative side of it. Obviously, this is crypto, and and uh, and then there's people in it just for like they just enjoy it. Like there's people who just say, "Hey, it's fun using Stargaze," like
Yeah.
and yeah,
It's more fun than using other network like NFTs, right? Like it's more fun. Like you could see last few months there was this grim time, like with some of the networks in Cosmos, while on Stargaze people were just dropping collections because it was fun. There was Joe, then there was Adora, right? So like you can actually take these initiatives with the NFTs. um let's get to Stargaze, and I will get back to Ethereum because there's few things that, like as you said, you probably use more Ethereum on the daily than you use Stargaze, and well, then you use Cosmos. You didn't say Stargaze. um I don't think I use more Ethereum, but I use a lot of Ethereum, like uh still, because I feel that the culture is more fun on Ethereum than we have in Cosmos. It's so different, and I feel even like many different chains. Cosmos is very different. Like it's very serious chain for some reason. Like it doesn't have this fun factor in it. But let's get to Stargaze, and I'm gonna give shout out to a friend because he asked me to give a shout out to meme DAX that are minting 19 February. It's affiliated with Neutron, I think, and they launch on Stargaze, and they wanted me to give the shout out. So I promised there will be 100 DAX, and I think I should maybe receive 2 of them for doing this now with Shane, and sneaking the shout out. But the first thing, like the thing that everyone is talking about is NFT staking. Okay, so we go into Stargaze, guys, now. So Stargaze, for those who don't know, is layer 1 chain that the main focus is NFTs, interoperable NFTs. And Stargaze promised few months ago, and we are waiting, that we will receive NFT staking. What it means, if I hold, for example, BatKit, I will be able to stake it in the similar way as I stake my stars tokens. Is it correct understanding?
Yeah, so you're talking about the superfluid staking. I mean, sorry, super cool staking that we're launching. Yeah, and the way it'll work is that you can stake it on a validator, right? Like how you do like a regular stake, and you earn regular staking yield, but you earn this extra yield based on the floor price as well. So it'll work very much like in Osmosis, you have the liquidity gauges, right? So you can you can bond for like the 1 day, 7 day, 14 day gauge. So it's gonna be something like that where you pick how long you want to unbond for, and then you'll get regular staking yield, and you'll get this extra kind of floor price yield. And the way this will work is that there'll be so the staking will happen in these in these DAOs, right? And they will request from the community pool how much of the reward that they want to go into super cool staking, and then that'll get distributed to everyone who's kind of like staking in this DAO. And and then other things can be added on top of it, right? So if another project wants to reward these stakers, right, they can also add like external rewards to it, and do other kinds of airdrops and stuff like that to the people that are staking.
There's one problem with it for me. It almost seems like a gimmick, because this type of staking doesn't seem to bring any value to the chain. So it doesn't seem to bring, if you stake your tokens, you secure the chain. But with this, it seems, hey, we give you a gimmick to not sell your NFT, but to lock it up, and then we will reward you with the inflation that we issue. Is it correct thinking of mine? That
No. You are locking up. You have to lock up stars in along with the NFT. So you are kind of like adding stars to the NFT. You're the way the way we say is that you're charging up your NFT by adding stars to it, and then you're staking it on a validator, right? So at least initially, that'll be it'll be no different from regular staking, as in like the reward you earn from staking is going to be the reward that you earn from super cool staking, but you get that extra kind of yield, which is a bit more of just inflation. But the thing is, over time, right? So this is the safest way we can build this, right? It's not very risky at all, right? It's as risk free as you can get with just like regular staking, right? But because you can sell, because of the floor price, right? Because you can kind of like sell the NFT at kind of any time you want, and it's kind of liquid, because if there's high volume, and if there's good liquidity, you can easily sell it, right? So you can kind of think of it almost like at some point, maybe you won't have to add all the stars to it. Maybe at some point you can only add 75% of the stars, but still earn like the full proof of stake yield. But 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 now it gets a little more risky. So that math has to be worked out a little bit.
What if I have already stars staked? Can I just add the NFT to what I have already staked, or not? No.
That's a good question. Yeah, we can look into like maybe like rebonding or transferring an existing delegation or existing stake
Mhm.
into
Yeah.
this instead of having to like unbond and redo it again. And yeah, that's something we can look into. That's
Yeah,
a good idea.
unbonding would be the problem, right? There is the question from Joe, friend of ours. Let's call him friend. Cosmos Joe. You were on his channel.
Yeah.
And he asked me a question: why we use stars tokens to vote in the DAO instead of NFTs? Because he said this is the problem for the blockchain like Stargaze. Okay, so there was the controversy with the listing fee. Okay, let's skip what it was. But you have validators, including me, that vote, and a lot of these validators sadly are not NFT guys. Like we both know it. Like it's just like there's people who never used Stargaze platform, and they do the vote that affects the people who are NFT holders who like the NFTs. And so he said the Stargaze token shouldn't be even used for voting because there is complete dislocation between those people who hold the stars and the people who hold the NFTs. So it would almost make sense that the DAO should be only for the people who hold the NFTs, and with your NFTs you should be voting. Like, would it be ever possible, or it's not really?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So Stargaze is in this weird place because it's a very consumer facing, retail facing kind of chain, right? It's
Mhm,
NFTs are a lot more retail facing than just purely DeFi. And it's in an ecosystem that hasn't really reached mainstream adoption yet, right?
mhm,
So Cosmos comes from a proof of stake background, a lot of validators, a lot of infrastructure people, a lot of neckbeards who love to run Linux and stuff like that, right? And they're not interested in art or interested in much much of this stuff. So it does, and as someone like me who kind of sits between both worlds, it's um I can understand it from both sides, right? um but yeah, there are people who like don't care at all about using Stargaze, and they just
mhm,
want to earn some yield on their tokens. And it is kind of hard to make that work. We did think about a dual token model initially, but didn't want to complicate things too much, right?
mhm,
It is just very nice having a single token for stuff, but I think as as the stuff evolves, I think that's going to change anyway at some point in time, because a token is kind of like equity, right? Like
mhm.
we don't go around buying stuff with Apple shares, right? We
Yeah.
have a currency, right? And I think that'll happen in Cosmos and in crypto at some point in time. Like in Ethereum, being like you know it became deflationary too soon, and
Mhm,
like if you fast forward in time a little bit, right? People are going to get priced out of Ethereum, right? And
mhm,
they won't be able to use it. So they'll have to issue another kind of more money like currency. So I don't know if it'll happen to Cosmos. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. It might have to happen, but voting with NFTs, I mean, that's going to happen when we have DAOs, right? So when we have
mhm,
DAOs, you'll be able to, um, uh, there'll be a certain type of a DAO where your membership is based on NFTs, and you can like vote on stuff and do stuff with it. And the way I kind of see it is that the community pool, or the main chain governance, right? That's kind of like, I don't want to use the word federal government, but it's more like, it's like the top kind of tier governance layer, right? And
mhm,
then um, the DAOs are kind of like your local government, states, businesses, and stuff like that, right?
mhm.
and then eventually they will start having a bit more power and stuff like that, and then the people that are users of Stargaze would probably more likely relate with the governance of these DAOs over the main chain governance, right?
Mhm.
So I think then when we have that, things are going to evolve a little bit, and maybe some of the decision making will move from chain governance into the DAOs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, because when you think about this, like, I understand that those who own the coins, they don't own the NFTs, but with that, they might be also relatively non-biased when they vote. Because I think, like, if we would vote with NFTs, right, based on the floor, maybe based on the value somehow, it would be unfair, for example, because the bad kids holders would have majority, right? And you also don't want to have equal vote to every NFT, because a lot of them are spam, so it's another issue, right? So I think, like, yeah, that's more difficult than it seems on the surface, actually. Interesting what you said about Ethereum, that it became deflationary too early, because I had the same opinion, right? Um, and many people didn't actually agree with me, and that's why I was stating the Cosmos shouldn't really become like low inflationary, because is it correct what you're thinking is the same way I do, that the newcomers to Ethereum, new developers, as you said, are priced out because the whales, let's call them whales or Ethereum aristocracy, they have no incentive now to use the tokens at all. The major incentive for them is stake them, because you will earn, I don't know what they have, 7% or something, while the supply doesn't really grow, and the newcomers have to use it, right? The traders have to use it. So at the end, those people are always at loss in comparison to those who will sit on the tokens and do exactly nothing on the network. Is it that's what you meant?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's going to happen is that, yeah, like the stakers and the people that kind of own ETH, will just kind of maybe just kind of like turn into passive stakers. But
Hmm.
what'll happen is that the protocols will get dominated by stable coins, maybe,
Hmm.
and the stable coins will kind of become like the currency, the most like used currency.
Yeah.
I think that might happen, and staking derivatives, as well. I mean, at some point in time, the staking derivative will uh, probably be used more than actual ETH, and I
Yeah.
believe that'll happen in Cosmos as well.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm still like thinking in Ethereum as the currency, right? When I think of my NFTs on Ethereum, I think of them in a ETH price. I wonder if people will be able to switch to the stable coins, which surely would make more sense. Um, Glad you say also about staking derivatives, because like I believe it might drive the next bubble. Because you can essentially leverage your position to the point that I was making video on that. Atom has 20% yield, but using derivatives, you can drive it to 50% simply borrowing against that, and but that's a danger, because the staking derivative can depeg quite substantially. And I think the bigger issue is on Ethereum, because Ethereum will have like 6 months staking. Is it correct what I'm saying? So the chances of depegging are much greater than in Cosmos, right?
Oh, because the unbonding period is
It's
shorter
so
than
long.
Ethereum's.
Yeah. So if you have short and bond, the price has less chances of depegging, right? But if you have massive depeg on Ethereum that like is 70%, for example, and then you wait 6 months for unbonding to actually, like, you would have to count on the people buying suddenly derivative assets, right? So I was thinking, but um yeah, a lot of dangers, but I think, yeah, like, people
Yeah,
probably will
I
start
mean,
use.
yeah, the stuff is risky, so that's why you have to like evaluate a little bit like that. Like,
Mhm.
we're doing we're getting a lot of people asking us if they can use the staking derivatives token, to like buy NFTs on the marketplace and stuff like that, right? But we have to do some modeling to like of the whole system to see how it'll affect the system. Like this is kind of like new territory, right? So I think like certain teams have specific stances about it. Like Osmosis, for example, they're like, oh, we have superfluid staking. We're not going to make liquid staking a major part of Osmosis, while there's other chains that are completely embracing it. It's just that, yeah, you have to kind of do the math and make sure you build stuff that aren't too risky, because you can have liquid staking, and then you can have another token that's a derivative of that one, and that's when you start to have all this like compounding issues.
Yeah, I was thinking we're gonna get very crazy. Like I tell you and it's probably not even crazy as we could get, right? So imagine we have two staking derivative. Because we do the Stargaze, I will use stars tokens. So you do maybe stride stars with Lido stars. You provide the pool with both of them, so you can earn 100% of the yield instead of 50%, right? And then you take the LP tokens and you go maybe to UMI to borrow against your LP tokens, right? And like so there is multiple ways how you could, and then you can add to the LP position, right? Then maybe you can create some additional derivative of your LP token as well. So like I think that the stuff gonna get crazy, like especially that there is money to be made of derivatives, and every time there is money to be made, the community will follow that, right? Despite it's risky.
Actually, let me ask you a question. Okay, so we are building an AMM right now, right? And and the LP token is going to be an LP NFT. So your liquidity position will be represented by the NFT, right? And then you'll be able to bond it and earn yield on this NFT, and that's going to be probably the first type of NFT staking that we're going to do, is kind of like a precursor to super cool staking. But do you think this will restrict using LP tokens elsewhere, right? So let's say UMI doesn't work with LP NFTs, right? So like, let's say UMI did work with LP NFTs, right? Then you can use ICS 721 to transfer to UMI and then like, do lending and borrowing there. But it might be a thing that other protocols are maybe only designed to work with fungible LP tokens, right? So do you think LP NFTs would put the Stargaze AMM at a disadvantage?
This is the alpha that you are dropping.
A little bit,
by the way, because that was like you just dropped the alpha and asking me for thought. No, you are not gonna be excluded, and it's actually great, because I think Mars is also was calling this NFT, so they surely prepare to support NFTs for lending borrowing platform. UMI will have to do it. I will tell them to do it, right? So that's two. I'd love to.
As long as you tell them to do it. If you tell them to do it, then they're going to do it, right? So I think we're
like
fine.
I'm gonna send a message. Hey, why you don't do it? But I tell you why it will happen, because I assume it will happen because I know you maybe heard of Composable.
Yeah,
and
actually we're working with them. Yep.
Right. So Composable has this other chain, Picasso. And yep. I believe Picasso also work on financial NFTs. So that's exactly this thing. So I believe they will be turning the LP positions into NFTs. So I believe, because they also work on them, they would assume they will be lending borrowing platforms that will be supporting them. And as Composable works with the Cosmos, it will be interoperable. Even if UMI doesn't support that, I would assume that Picasso from Composable will be making lending borrowing platform of financial NFTs. Not sure, it probably will be the same standard, right? Of the
Yeah, that's what
NFT.
I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm glad all these newer protocols are using NFTs to represent the
Hmm.
liquidity positions, because it just makes way more sense. You can store a lot
Yeah,
more data in the NFT, and it's a unique kind of position, so it makes sense for it to be an NFT and not a fungible token. And then yeah, you can stake it and use it as collateral, right? You can like,
hmm,
how now you can get like a home equity loan and stuff like that. You can maybe get a loan um from your
hmm.
NFT LP position. And
Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, uni v3 LP positions are NFTs, right? And they were kind of like the
yeah.
leader in this kind of movement. So yeah, I mean, yeah, very excited to be building that, and it's good to hear that all these other protocols are also going in that
Yeah,
direction.
100% is the future. I mean, I'm even like checking now, Picasso. They will be actually turning the native tokens to yield bearing governance F NFT. It's just like even just the token, not even LP position. But then the question, right? So, uh, so you will turn the AMM LP positions into NFT. I assume there is a chance for people to create the liquidity pools with this um, with this NFTs and stars, for example. Correct? Is it?
So a liquidity pool with the LP NFT and stars.
Yes, because okay, I know you work. Okay, we come back to this
So
later, and I tell you when.
you can trade your liquidity positions.
Yes, and I tell you why it will be
Interesting.
possible, because you build something like this, and you will simply enable that to people, which would be crazy, right? Like that's why I'm laughing, because I don't even know if it's possible, right? Like because it
Yeah,
sounds
no,
so
yeah, no,
weird.
exactly. We're building all these things that you can start doing this like crazy things that I don't
Mhm.
know if it even makes sense, right? So if you want me to drop a little alpha, I can drop that we're working on what's called infinity pools. So infinity pools is like PseudoSwap, right? So we're
Mhm.
building a PseudoSwap on Stargaze, and this will allow you to have a liquidity pool with like NFTs on one side and like stars on the
Mhm.
other side, right? And because NFTs are composable, like yeah, sure, you can have an LP NFT on one side and you can
That's
have stars on
exactly
the
what
other
I'm
side
saying,
if you want.
because I knew
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So I knew you building that. So if this will be
Uh-huh.
NFT, nothing will stop me. If I will have couple of liquidity pool NFT of the certain NFT, I can simply provide liquidity to that later, right? But yeah, I want to ask you, so how you call them on Stargaze? Because I don't want to use the
Uh,
pseudo swap, because
we're calling them
do you have
infinity
name
pools.
for this? Sorry?
Yeah, yeah. Infinity?
Infin- Infinity. Let's call it
Yeah, infinity
Infinity.
pools.
So we'll try to use the Stargaze name. How does the pseudo swap exactly works? Because I usually use the other platform, which is NFTX. I really like it. So the pseudo swap, does it use Sushi Swap? Like, can you later sell them on Sushi Swap, or how it works?
Oh, okay. No, no. So so infinity pool slash pseudo swap is basically an AMM for NFTs. So the
Hmm.
way it works is that you can have you can create liquidity pools. You can create like a buy pool and sell pool. So let me use an
Hmm.
example. So let's say you have like 10 bad kids, right? And you want to
Hmm.
sell them all, right? So
Hmm.
now if you want to sell them all in the marketplace, you had to like manually go into the marketplace, and you had to like you had to list them, and then you had to wait till people come and buy them, and it's
Hmm.
it's more kind of like peer to peer trading. Um, with infinity pools, you can trade against the pool. So what you can
Hmm.
do is you can add like the 10 bad kids um, to let's say a sell pool, and you choose
Hmm.
a bonding curve. So that
Hmm.
controls the price.
Yeah.
So so like the more you sell out of the pool, the price goes up a little bit more,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So so you don't have to like manually manage all this stuff. You can just like you can put the 10 backers in the pool. You can choose the bonding curve, and then others can come and trade against the pool,
Yeah.
and like you can easily like sell all of your bad kids with like the price that you for for like a decent price, and get a better deal on it.
Yeah, I keep saying
Yeah.
we really need that because similar way NFTX work. But I'm asking because they have like two options, right? So you need to check NFT. I don't know why I'm using more. I feel there is better liquidity for the pro, and I really like the UX there.
Yeah,
But for example,
what I like about NFTX is that like so it mints you a floor token, right? So you basically
Mhm.
like lock your NFT into a vault, and it mints you a floor token, and then you can use that in a regular AMM.
Yeah, so then you can sell them in SushiSwap. So I wasn't sure because that's why I
Yep,
thought maybe SudoSwap works the same. But what you have there, so you can actually
it's
do
a little different.
two.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the idea for someone to build that, right? Like because those two things coexist.
Oh, I mean, we
So
definitely want to build NFTX as well. I mean, so that's already in the works. We're doing so much. We're doing so
okay,
much at once right now, which is a little bit crazy. But yeah.
because I wanted to bring it because how it works, it has that two strategies, right? So one is the inventory, which you said you add the um, NFTs to the pool, and I want to say to people who don't understand, like buying the bat kit now is absolute nightmare, right? Like the floor is steep. It's hard to choose the bat kit you have. So how it works, if you have pool like this, there might be couple whales. So I have some of the bad kits, right? I have still 55 bad kits. I have maybe 10 of them that I could let go. Someone might have 100 of them. And these people will add to the pool because they would be yield. So then you can go there and find this 100 or 200 bad kits at the floor price, and you will have easier choice to find the one that you really want at the floor price. Are you able to swap them in SudoSwap against your NFT or not?
Would you be able to swap? Yes.
So here is
Like, would you be able to swap fungible tokens? You're saying with
so
NFTs?
imagine I go to the infinity pools. I open the bat
Uh huh.
kits example, right? And there is 100 bat kits available in the pool. And I have one bat kit in my wallet that I don't like, but I saw in the pool the one that I like. Am I able to exchange this? I am, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a
Yeah.
pool where you can do like trading against the pool. Like you can have NFTs on both sides.
Yeah. So yeah, and NFTX. So NFTX has like this that you have this just inventory pool, and they have other pool that you can add your NFT plus the token. So in this case would be Ethereum, and in our case would be Stargaze, which yields you actually more, right? Like even because there is like probably top like another fee on top. But let me ask you about the infinity pools. Some creators, especially the new ones that don't come like from Ethereum, might have the problem with it. Swap fee of the pool. I understand it will be creator of the pool deciding of the swap fee, right? Is there any limit
Yeah, I
you want to
mean,
impose?
well, yeah, we haven't really kind of decided on the fees for that yet. But the way fees work on Stargaze anyway is that like the community decides what the fee is, and
Mhm.
as you know, they love to vote all the fees down, which maybe uh, not always a good thing, but that's kind of how it happens.
Yeah,
But it doesn't. Whatever we set the fees initially to, the community can always change it. So
yeah, yeah,
uh and sometimes we even launch things with just zero fee, and then let the
yeah.
community decide what the fee should be.
I think a lot of
um
pools on SudoSwap is like 1%, which is absolutely great, and
the thing is, pseudoswap though doesn't respect royalties, right? So yeah, this is a bit of a contentious issue. We are going to respect royalties in this um in infinity pools.
I
um
don't like it.
but
I think
You
you
don't like it.
shouldn't. I think you shouldn't respect
Yeah.
royalty.
Everyone's going to
Um,
have an opinion on this. Yeah.
I mean, artists will do it, but
Mhm.
because you respect royalties, the edge is removed from the pool. You know, is it possible to create platform that doesn't respect royalties or not because it's encoded?
Okay. Here's the thing, right? So right now, because Stargaze is still, still early, kind of still on the smaller side.
Mhm,
It's a very community focused, creator focused kind of chain. As it gets bigger, as it gets more mainstream, uh, most of the world out there is traders, and traders don't care about royalties, but the creators do, and the
mhm,
smaller ecosystems do. So yeah, we're gonna run into this issue where there's gonna be a lot more pressure to remove royalties. And we're always thinking of alternative ways, right,
mhm.
to fund them. And and this is something we're gonna have to work with the community over time,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean there is a way to design it and not have royalties in it, right?
Mhm.
But um but that will have to go through governance, right? So the for infinity pools, like the percentage or like if it should include royalties or not will be a governance parameter, right? So people can vote to remove it if they want.
Yeah.
But what we're thinking of doing is maybe giving the creators a choice, right? So
Mhm.
the creators would be able to vote and say, for their collection, should they let the protocols enforce royalties or not?
Yeah.
And they may realize that it might even work in their favor to not have royalties because it'll increase trading volume,
Mhm.
right?
This is,
So I don't know.
you see, I think we come from very similar position because I understand the creators. They will be like, oh, the pools will not have royalties, it's over for us, right? That would be natural thinking. And I understand you are in the position that I'm not. You have to look after them because you are, let's call it, you're the person that leads the Stargaze, right? Like you cannot turn their back against them. It would be difficult for them to understand. But what you just said, like, I realized a lot of creators can benefit massively from those pools, and if they listen, I will explain that to them, like, so if you drop the collection, let's put the number 10,000, which is big collection, you can always mint 1,000 NFTs to yourself, or 500. And when the pools appear, you can be the one that provides liquidity. And there is examples of creators on Ethereum that earn a lot from those pools, much more than they earn from actually royalties, because the volume is so high, right? So that would be solution for them, I think. Like, there is the benefits for.
Oh, that's a good
um
idea. So you're saying the creator, like the creators always like mint a little bit for themselves. So you're saying they trade in the pools themselves so they can
Mhm.
earn some revenue from the trading fee and instead, yeah, this is I think that's a totally valid
Yeah.
um solution, one of the solutions to this problem. I think it's one of the problems we'll have multiple solutions. It's not just
Yeah.
going to be one,
I
just one
mean,
thing.
like, there's probably different solutions, maybe adjusting the fee, because it will be difficult if the creator has like 10% fee, and then you add swap pool, then like is massive fee for trading,
It's a
right? So
lot.
it will
Yeah.
discourage people. So maybe it can be adjusted or something like this. But I know,
Yeah, I mean, right now we're thinking like so the trading fee on marketplace is 2%.
Mhm,
I think every other marketplace is 2.5%. So
mhm,
we are Strug is already less than the industry standard, and also it doesn't it goes back to community because it's
mhm,
burnt and go to stakers, right?
yeah,
With fair burn. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty minimal. But if you add that with the royalties, right, it does kind of eat into profits a little bit.
yeah.
So, um, yeah,
So
at the end, so all these parameters will be changed by governance, and it can adapt over time.
Yeah, that's what, like, I know, Bad Kid's creator, he minted 500 for himself, which is ideal. You can easily add 200 to the pool if you want
Is
in the
that public?
future.
Did he want other people to know that?
It's public. It's now less. I think
Okay.
he has 270 because he has given away. But it was a lot of projects do it for giveaways, but they can do it also partially. Of course, it would be crazy if the founder means 30%. Then it will be like, I'm not getting into this. But 5%, like reasonable, you want to have for giveaways, you
Yeah,
want to
that's
have
fine.
for reserves, right? Like that's. I think there is ways to do it. You said AMM before. Good, because sometimes osmosis is crashing and I cannot get the stars to buy the NFTs. So are you building your own? Are you forking something, or are you doing outpost?
So for the AMM, right? I mean, first of all, if it weren't for Osmosis, Stargaze wouldn't even be here, because we did a liquidity bootstrapping pool on Osmosis, and that Stargaze was kind of born out of that. And kind of see that as like the place where most of the liquidity will for stars will always be. But the thing is, on Stargaze itself, we want easy onboarding, right? We want people to come in very easily and use it. We want to have integrations with like Kedo money, where people can easily get the token if they want to. And also creators kind of want to have kind of their own tokens and stuff. And also we want to experiment, right? We want to like integrate NFTs, like do like LP NFTs, and we kind of want to build on top of this stuff. So that's why I think it does make sense for Stargaze to have an AMM. And also, like, for better or worse, a lot of chains are kind of like valued based on volume, right? And when you're an NFT focused chain, you don't have the liquidity and volume that chains that have a lot of fungible tokens, right? So because of that, Stargaze doesn't always show up in like the ranking sites and all these kind of things, because we don't have an AMM. So like so that's also like a secondary reason why we kind of have to build this. We initially forked WasnSwap, but because that is being deprecated, that's the one that was used for JunoSwap, because that and then we kind of modified that to get rid of the CW20 tokens, because we only want to keep it with IBC assets. And then recently, so we were ready to launch this, but then Wind came out, right? And started looking at some of the Wind code and started talking to that team. And like right now, as it is, like the Stargaze engineering team, we're spread a little too thin. We're working on a little too many things at once, right? So we do want to maybe outsource some of the stuff that's maybe not entirely like core to NFTs and marketplace. So yeah, talking to the Wind team right now. I mean, we've already forked Wind, which by the way is a fork of Astroport, right? It is not
Oh, I didn't know.
completely. It's is a fork of Astroport. So that's probably what we're gonna go with. Either work with the Wind team, or modify Wind to work with LP NFTs instead of fungible tokens.
I didn't know Wind was fork of Astroport is, by the way, like really great decks. Love the UX there. But Astroport isn't like, I find out yesterday, isn't Astroport made with like Injective, like with the
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work actually, because Injective, as far as I know, doesn't run Cosmosm, right? Injective is like an EVM chain,
yeah,
isn't it?
because
Or is it? Oh no, it's a Cosmos SDK chain. It's a Cosmos SDK.
they also enable Cosmosm, but I checked featured dApps on Injective, and it's Astroport, and I was convinced before that Astroport was built on Terra because it's Terra DEX, right? But it was built on Injective apparently. So, but yeah, like great AMN. I actually didn't know the Wind was fork of them. So
Yep.
that's the surprise. Yeah, thank you for this answer. I'm really waiting for this, because I do think we need easier onboarding. The other thing that many people talks is the DAOs. So um the Stargaze will have DAOs. There's so much. It's almost like what's the timeline also for AMM and the Infinity Pools? Can you give me that for this too?
Yeah, sure. So the AMM and Infinity Pools are separate projects.
Mm-hmm.
I think over time they will maybe merge into one.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the AMM, is a fork of Windex, and then Infinity Pools is its own separate project. Right now, Infinity Pools is going through testing and audits, um,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to think about how to build a front end for that, right? Because you know, it could be like its own site, but the thing is, the nice thing about Stargaze is that everything's kind of like integrated into one thing. So like, it's just like a nice kind of clean UI UX for everything. So ideally, we want to integrate it into the marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't want to overcomplicate things, right? So, um, still kind of exploring how to make it work where it'll just kind of like blend into the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so, but there's still like there's some overlaps with like collection bids and well, I think what'll end up happening is we'll end up building like a router that will find the best deal for you, the best trade or best deal for you, right? So, so depending on what you want to do, um, it'll find the best deal like through marketplace, through infinity pools, to like whatever is coming in the future, right?
Mm-hmm. It's someone asking like I think the services are quite well explained on the landing page. But I want to ask like like it's cool that everything is on the Stargaze, but I would personally like to see the outside teams come in and build something, right? And I don't know why it doesn't happen, because there seems like they don't attempt, and I wonder why. Are they afraid that Stargaze team will block it? Right? We know this. There's a lot of tokens in the Stargaze team. So, like I for example told you NFTX, right? And I'm here, and um I don't want to respect creator royalties.
Okay,
It
okay,
sounds
okay.
so
So a couple
bad,
things.
right?
First of all, yeah. Okay, just to clarify a couple things. The Stargaze team, we don't vote in governance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we don't
Yeah.
have influence over contracts and what gets launched and deployed, right? I
So.
mean, we talk to the community about it, right? But we
Mhm.
don't vote. Um, uh, 100% of projects that have um, wanting to have deployed stuff on Stargaze have
Mhm.
gone live. Like 100%
Mhm.
of contracts, people that have written contracts have gotten, deployed on Stargaze. And if you go to the front, if you go to Stargaze.zone, there's like a little ecosystem section, and there's like, a couple of projects there.
Mhm.
Um, I think the reason you haven't seen more is I think people don't know. A lot of people don't know that they can deploy custom contracts on Stargaze, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people
Yeah.
think you can only deploy in a permissionless chain, which is not true.
Mhm.
Osmosis the same way. Like you just have to go through governance, right?
Yeah.
And so you had to open source your contracts, and you have to create a governance proposal, and then the voting period is 3 days, right?
Yeah.
So it's not hard to do. It's just that just some devs just kind of see that as too much of a barrier
Mhm.
when like we have to do it. The reason we have to do it is because Stargaze has free gas, right?
Mhm.
And so we can't accept a contract that's going to exploit that and kill the chain, right? Someone
Yeah.
can so easily write a malicious contract. So that's why it kind of has to go through governance, so we can at least do
Mhm.
like a minimal check on it.
I think that's the reason that the developers don't know they can actually build their own stuff, right? By the way, there is like
Yeah.
quite a lot of people watching. Remember to like this video; it does help. So if I want to build something, right, like imagine NFTX, like, and I don't want to respect creator earnings, I can deploy it on Stargaze through the governance, and the Stargaze team will not block such venture, right? I'm speaking for others. If someone who wants to build will listen here, correct? Is the
Yeah, I mean, so there's like Pegasus, that's like the
Mhm,
peer-to-peer swap that has launched.
mhm,
There's another project called NFT Switch that is looking to launch also on
mhm,
Stargaze. And I so the respecting royalties thing though, that is kind of a contentious thing. Um, you know, we are kind of internally debating that right now. We should like, you know, should we like have a rule saying that you have to do that, right? So that is something that is being debated right now.
mhm,
Um, and but I do like your idea about um, you know, your idea earlier of a way to kind of solve that. So
mhm. Yeah.
we just have to like maybe educate people a bit more on these other ways to for creators to earn revenue.
Yeah, as it, because I think we are quite separated, right? I think being big part of Stargaze community and overall big part of Cosmos community didn't really interact with Ethereum, which those things are there, right? Like the regarding royalties as well, and these swap pools that doesn't respect royalties, and creators still make a lot of money doing that. Um, why it's great, I think, also because you heard of FloorDAO, right? So this enables another possibilities for creator. If you don't have royalties, ventures like the FloorDAO might come and swap your floor to provide liquidity in the pool, which also increase the trading, increase the floor price, and so there is like you
Can
might
you
lose
can you can you
royalties.
can you explain how Florida works?
Mhm. So this is the organization. They have just 7 projects maybe under the hood, right? They issued the tokens, and they purchased they start with purchasing first collection, and every time they would add the new collection that they need to swap the floor, they go through voting, and they put, let's say, 6 different projects, and the holders of the floor DAO token vote on the project that they want to include into swapping the floor. The projects that win, then from the treasury, the funds they have are used to buy the floor of the certain NFT. So this could be apes, this could be punks, this could be miladies. After they buy maybe 50 of them, depending of their possibilities, they add them to something like PseudoSwap or NFTX and earn the yield. And this yield later goes back to treasury, and then another voting, right? They can also sell their DAO tokens to get funding, and they choose another project. So they are very selective with the projects. I believe Floor DAO has only 6 NFTs that they included. Um, and they've been for quite long time. They yielded over 200%, I believe, so far. I'm trying to see what projects they have. So it's like the Floor DAO is quite big on Ethereum. They have in the treasury, they have Ethereum and USDC total of $500,000, which comes from selling the DAO tokens and yielding. And they also have punks, wizard, miladies, mutant apes. I think Saudis are also there, right? So just few projects that they later provide to the and I think when we have the infinity pools, ventures like this could exist because there is a lot of yield, but have respecting royalties is the problem for ventures like this to exist as well, right? um was this
Yeah, I love the
explanation?
idea.
Yeah, yes.
I love. Yeah, this is great explanation. I love the idea of floor DAO. I
Mhm.
think you know that that should be, I think, one of the first that launches on
Mhm.
Stargaze, because it just totally makes sense. It totally makes sense for Stargaze.
So how I imagine that, right? I don't know how to start it, right? But probably you issue the DAO tokens against that. So how I would envision that, maybe it could be perfected. Let's say the maximum cap is 1 million tokens. I issue 100,000 tokens at first, and I sell each of them for $1. With that, I sold 100,000 tokens. I have 100,000 USDC in the treasury, and I decide to spend 20,000 to buy BatKit's floor. I decide to spend 10,000 to maybe space skillies or something like this, or even more. And these two I use to provide liquidity on infinity pools. And I sit on that and I try to see within few months if there is other strong collections that are worth it. If there is new, the DAO votes again. We give like 5 different choices. The DAO chooses the most popular collection they want. Then we swap the floor, and it's actually interesting. Veteran floor DAO works. They have market cap of 6 million with $8 million in treasury. So obviously it worked well for them. Even this is risky investment, but yeah, the funding. I can't imagine the funding. Like you probably just need to sell the tokens, right? Issue the DAO tokens and start venture like this.
Right. Yeah. And that would be, up to the members of the DAO, right? So they would have to kind of build a community, kind of recruit the team, and promote like their vision and stuff like that. And then they will be responsible for the issuance of the governance token or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, the DAOs can totally participate in infinity pools and every other feature of Stargaze. And we're one thing we're working on though is making the UI and UX for DAOs like super easy, right? So basically, when you're a member of a DAO, when you're using Stargaze, next to any action, next to any button, right, it'll be a drop down for you to perform that action as a member of the DAO. Right. So like now typical DAO interfaces, you had to go to the interface of the DAO, right? And then you have to like create a proposal and then you have to like send that link to everyone. And it's like this is kind of very manual process. The way it's going to work at Stargaze is that like it'll be built into the UI. So if you're a member of the DAO, the button will be just like, like buy this NFT as the DAO. And then the other members will get a notification, right? And they can just click the notification to like accept it or whatever. And then like, normie, I don't want to use the word normies, but like retail users, regular users wouldn't even have to like know what a proposal is or anything, right?
Yeah.
It's like the word proposal just sounds so like very kind of, it's very Web3 native, kind of blockchainy, kind of like, it's a little stuffy a little bit, right? They would just be able to just kind of like use like DAOs and vote on proposals without even like knowing any of these like terms and stuff.
Can you tell me if the DAOs will be on Stargaze, only the NFTs will be the DAO tokens, or you can also issue the secondary DAO token?
I mean, initially we were just thinking NFTs, but there's a lot of demand for these governance tokens or secondary tokens, right? Is that what you're talking about, like a governance token for the DAO?
Yeah, the secondary token that you can issue to raise money, right? And vote for which NFTs to purchase. That would be, of course, it can be done also with the NFT tokens, right? But then when you need additional funding, you can also do secondary sales of the DAO token. I believe that's how Floor DAO works. They sell sometimes from treasury DAO tokens to raise more money for the certain price. But you could do it with the NFTs, I assume. Let's say I issue 1,000 NFTs and I raise some money, and this money goes purely to the investing in the floors, right? And ventures like this. So would be really cool. Let's have some questions, because there was the question from Lil Gaines, and I've been keeping this for quite long. So Lil Gaines was asking, Where was it? About question for you. What are your thoughts about building tools for creators to use Stargaze that allows them to do airdrops, snapshots, and so on? Tools that people talk about. So he expands on that. Snapshots, filter by collection, minimum amount per wallet, multiple collections, and so on. And with the airdrops, send batch NFT slash stars to wallets based on the certain NFTs they hold, and so on.
So I don't know if he's seen. So I don't know if he's seen Stargaze Studio. Stargaze Studio is already lets you do a lot of this stuff, and there's always kind of new stuff being added to it. And there's also a lot of creators that built a lot of these tooling already. So if you hang out in the creators channel, if you hang out in Stargaze Tools channel and Discord, you will eventually like discover all these tools. A lot of the creators have already built a lot of this stuff already.
Yeah. I want to ask you if you check any other marketplaces, and you're in any other networks. Like, did you use maybe Solana marketplaces, Phantom, and any others? Because that's my recent kink. I'm checking other marketplaces.
That's
How
your
they look.
recent kink.
Yeah, that's my recent kink.
I mean, of course, yeah. I mean, always checking out all the other ones. Recently been a bit of a fan of Blur. They came out of nowhere, and they found a niche, which is just like traders only, right? They're only going to focus on traders, and like the NFT image is like a tiny little thing it's so comically tiny and small, right? They only focus on numbers.
So annoying.
And
But I bought some. I actually bought some from the Blur. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they just did a large airdrop. So definitely always playing around with all the other stuff just for inspiration. And seeing what we can kind of bring over to Stargaze. And yeah, I'm thinking, in the future we may have multiple UIs on top, right? There's no reason why Stargaze Zone has to be the only interface. Right now, anyone can build an interface on top of it. Like, Hubble.tools is another interface on top of Stargaze, right? If no one else builds it, we might do it, but we might build a pro trader interface, something that's a bit more like Blur. And then the existing Stargaze will be more catered to like collectors, right? So we may have a collector interface and a trader interface, just like Coinbase has like a pro and a regular site, right? So we may end up doing that, right? And let's say there's like a gaming vertical, like let's say like for gaming assets or something, like there might be a Stargaze site that like the marketplace looks more like a 3D world or something like that. Right. So it's that stuff is definitely coming in the future.
Yeah, I did buy some NFTs on Blur because they are cheaper on OpenSea, and still most of the people use OpenSea, right? But on the Blur you can find the lower floor, and it was recommended from Miladies, so that's how I found out Blur. That's how I actually find out NFTX. And regarding the airdrop, Charlotte Fang, the co-founder of Miladies, I saw the screenshot. I think it was real, showed that the airdrop $800,000, which shows that creators can also do the beats on these platforms, and be active participants of the market making of their own NFT, I guess. And they can later profit a lot from that, That's did you get the airdrop?
I mean, no, I didn't. I didn't even check. Yeah, I don't even check any of the airdrops. I'm I don't know. I'm just I'm way more kind of focused on building. But Stargaze did a massive airdrop, right? And I think it was 150 million when it happened. Blur's like I think it's 300 million, so it's like maybe twice as big. But it's on Ethereum, so in relative numbers, like Stargaze's airdrop was actually massive because Ethereum is something like
exponentially bigger than Stargaze. So like,
Mhm.
I would have imagined the Blur airdrop to be even bigger. It's just that, you know, we're more in a bear market now. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't last, right? Like right after this massive airdrop, you get a massive dump, and that's just, you know, that's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So,
You, I think Stargaze was in an unfortunate position, and actually most of the Cosmos chains, but so you had to do the airdrop to make it able for, actually maybe you could have waited, but then you would have to force people to buy the tokens and are not incentivized to use the platform, right? But for example, like I like what these platforms do, like Blur. They create the platform and they don't airdrop to the all wallets, but they airdrop it to the users of the platform, right? So the ones that are most loyal will receive the most. I think DYDX has similar distribution. They do the monthly um issuance for the users of the platform, and this is probably like the best schedule of the airdrop. I think Stargaze wasn't able to do it, but ideally you don't want to airdrop to everyone, because happens what happened, that then most of the people will dump the token, right? And it's massive sell pressure.
yeah, we do want to start. I mean, so Stargaze now has after the clawback for the airdrop, we have a sizable, you know, amount of tokens in the community pool, right? So we do want to start, you know, doing stuff like this, you know, giving rewards back to the early users, right, and people that are most active on the platform. It's just that it has to, you know, any kind of incentive is very easy to game and very easy to wash trade, right? So we have to design it carefully. Like it's impossible to design it perfectly, right? Any kind of any kind of incentive is going to be farmed, is going to get gamed, but like how can you do it to get the least amount of like wash trading and gaming? So that's kind of what we're looking into now, because we do want to do this stuff. We just want to design it with a thoughtful eye, you know.
So what's your favorite marketplace? But you cannot say Stargaze.
Oh man, I like Foundation a lot. You know, Foundation is just the design is just really beautiful. It is focused a lot more. It's more of a collector focused marketplace. You know, focused more on the art and stuff. But I don't know. I do like Blur too. I do really like what they have done, and you know, we are influenced by the best that's out there, and you know, our goal ultimately is to make Stargaze the best one, right? But,
Yeah. Yeah, I only know Foundation for single drops for the like smaller artists, right? I never really bought anything of Foundation.
yeah, they're more kind of focused on one-on-ones. I'm just talking more about like the layout of
Yeah,
the site, the design of the
yeah,
site, and stuff
one
like
of
that.
ones. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
They have nice photographs. That's really cool. I just open and I'm seeing the botany. It seems like analog images. I wonder if they send the original copy as well. Sorry for wondering about that. I did like Solana recently. I think they have quite nice UI, so Solana, and they have like strong NFT communities.
I mean, Magic Eden did influence Stargaze a lot in the early days.
They did massive layoffs now. They have troubles. Did you see?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, you know, like we could have been in that situation too. I mean, you know, at the height of the bull market, like all these people and investors were like bugging me to like hire like 50 people, you know,
Yeah.
and I was like, no, that's not a good idea, bro. I've been doing startups longer than you've been doing VC, so I might know what I'm doing. So like, so we, you know, we kept it conservative, and we, you know, didn't hire too many people, and because of that, like we don't have to lay anyone off. So I think that was the right approach to take at that time.
Yeah, there is some question. Will there ever be like badges on Stargaze that could be maybe soul bond? I don't like soul bond tokens actually.
We do have badges on Stargaze now, and this was contributed
Yeah,
by
there is.
Larry 0x. Yeah, but we are working on a better interface for it.
Yeah, Carol, responded graphene from Starty. I really like Starties. I'm one of the biggest holders of Starties, actually. Maybe I will do to infinity.
I think I got one of the very first like special Starties, and I'm very proud of having that.
Yeah, I actually I'm a huge fan of the pixel art recently. Like I don't know what happened, but like Pixels is one of my favorite NFTs. So Starty is like pixel art, but I was scrolling through some of these other ecosystems, and I saw like weirdly, like I become a friend from guy from Phantom, and I start checking out the NFTs, and I was like, oh, this pixel art is so cool. Meanwhile, what I'd also explored, Phantom is this massive ecosystems, and like when you compare to ecosystems, like Stargaze appear to have even like stronger collections than a lot of other ecosystems. Obviously, like we hard to catch up with Solana or Ethereum's, but when it comes to other ecosystems, we are doing quite well, I would say. But I was quite impressed with the pixel art on the. I'd love to see more pixel art on Stargaze. We have a lot, but there's like the pixel art is always funny. Like I don't know what's with it. I told you to check the Canto. How was your experience with the Alto marketplace?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know what the hype's about. I mean, I don't want to trash on other projects, but like, the marketplace wasn't performant. It wasn't like designed that well and stuff. And I don't know. I look at like the total experience of using a site. And like I don't even notice the NFTs that are on there if the site looks bad, right? I don't know. It's just like it just turns me off. So I guess I have to look into it more and explore it a bit more. But
no, it's
I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, I get that, because like I started buying it, and I asked you to check because the hype was big with the NFTs, right? And a lot of collections dropped, and some of them is also like really great pixel art that I like. And the platform is completely unusable. It's just so bad. The NFTs do not display.
I think what happened with Canto is so they have an incentive where the developers get a reward based on volume. And I think they had a lot of wash trading with the developers kind of like faking the volume to get the incentive. And I think that drove the hype, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't very organic. I think it was just a very kind of bot driven hype.
But somehow they still got some NFTs, and I'm like, these people should come to Stargaze because this art is pretty cool. And on Stargaze, like these collections would display, and not that you hit on this and you can't even see what's the NFT because it doesn't display on this platform Alto. So what do you think could attract people from outside of the ecosystem to Stargaze?
I mean, first of all, we need to make onboarding a lot easier, a lot simpler, and a lot faster, right? It shouldn't be a 12-step process to get stars, right? So that's, so many people are dropping off, right? They'll come to Stargaze and they leave because they don't want to, they have to download Kepler, that'll do all, people that are not Cosmos native, there's so much kind of in the way. So making that all easier, supporting more wallets, and making onboarding easier, that will make a drastic difference. So that's step number one, right? So we can't even think about all the other things until we get to step number one first. And then of course, like incentives with other projects. We want to do airdrops to other ecosystems, other collections, form partnerships with them. Obviously IBC NFT transfers, you'll be able to, maybe one day you'll be able to move the Canto NFTs to a better marketplace and trade it on Stargaze or something, right? So yeah, all this stuff is coming this year
with no royalties, right?
Well, now that we have some solutions, we can work on something. So, yeah, I think we can come up with some better ideas for that. But hey, man, I do have to leave soon, though.
Yeah, it's okay. It's also quite late. I know I'm dragging you quite long. There was some great alpha. It was a little chaotic, but like so glad catching up. If I can ask you, what's the number one thing for Stargaze for you? It's your child, right? Like I think everyone's seen it. When you think of Stargaze, what is the most important thing for Stargaze?
The most important thing for me is I just like seeing people enjoy using it. You know, that's what, when people use it and are enjoying it, that makes me happy and makes me want to keep building. So I know it sounds cheesy, but that's I want people to have a great experience. I want people to use it and have a great experience.
Yeah, that's a good answer. You know, like, because I really enjoy using NFTs, and it's a little sad because I must tell you something. There's some people still watching, so when I make content about Cosmos, some pointless drama, those always get like very popular. But the thing that you really enjoy, like going through these NFTs, Cosmos doesn't have NFT culture, and it's a little sad. And I hope we will be able.
I just want to say one thing. I want to say one thing here. Drama is an excuse for not having great product. I'm sorry, but like there's no like, I stay away from the drama because drama is pointless. It's a waste of time. You know, if Cosmos, like, if Focus took all that energy from the drama and focused on building, the ecosystem will be much better off. Right? I think because there's a lack of product. People use drama as a way to get attention, and that's really sad. That's really sad.
People tell me, let him go, Don. I'm letting you go. I'm not gonna keep you.
All right.
Thank you very much. It was really a huge pleasure. I will try to make timestamps. I don't do timestamps for the other live chats because I have no time. I will make for this one because you paid me. So thanks a lot. It was great chat. Thank you everyone for coming. So till the next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Thanks, man.